Alright, so this is the second of Hydrad's games, and I'm watching him play Sona, and the match is going to be Sona Ezreal versus Maokai Keelan. Sona Ezreal is a very strong poke lane with pretty good sustain, and it's vulnerable to Sona getting jumped on and killed really early, but other than that, it's a good lane. You're really squishy. I think you don't have the plus 30 HP at level 1 in defense even. So you're gonna have to really be careful for Maokai jumping on you, and then Keelan putting a trap below you while you're snared, and then the snare going on long enough for you to be able to die. So I like to run flat HP cleanse on Sona so that I'm a lot tanky at level 1, and then I also take the plus 30 HP at level 1 in the defense tree. You're probably, my guess is 1/8 21 spec. I actually just forgo the exhaust mastery if I need to in order to make sure that I have the plus 30 HP at level 1 because that's huge. So you don't actually want to charge up a power cord in well. So you don't even want to get 2 stacks of your power cord necessarily in well. The reason is just that it takes way too long for you to get out of well if you do that. Like, they could have already been standing in this bush by the time that any of you got out of well because you took so long, like, as a team, and then you in particular took, a really long time. So if they invaded here, like, there's no way that Brand would have been able to fight, and so you would have been able to, or you would have had to lose an engage that you possibly could have won, because it just took all of you so long to get out of base at the beginning of the game. But as I was saying about power cord, so at the very beginning of the game, you can have 3 stacks in a power cord, yeah, but getting a power cord, like the process of getting to 3 stacks resets your auto attack animation, and so you have a lot of burst by already being at 2 stacks, and then auto attacking, and then queuing, and then auto attacking one more time. So that allows you to do a lot of unexpected damage to their carrier support at the very beginning of the lane. So get your power cord to 2 stacks, and then you're able to use that additional burst that you have at the beginning of a level 1 team fight or at the beginning of lane. Now, if you're helping your jungler, then you obviously want to be able to do damage with your auto attacks. So what you do instead is that you do in fact get your power cord all the way to 3 stacks, but you do it later. You do it, you get that 3rd stack while you're already waiting over here, and you already know that there's not going to be an invade. And then you auto attack with the power cord, the big wolf, and then you Q wolves, and then you Q blue buff one time, and then you're back at having enough stacks, like 2 stacks, so that when you get to the beginning of lane, you can when you get to the beginning lane, you can output that huge amount of burst that you really want. You should be rotating over, you should have started rotating over way earlier. Maokai shouldn't have been able to get there before you, and now Maokai and Keelan are both gone. If you're definitely not going to rotate at all, like, you just need to be pushing really hard. You should be auto-attacking creeps. You need to get these creeps all the way to tower, because right now your team is at a disadvantage because you're not there, and so you really need to capitalize on the fact that you're staying in lane and deny them as much XP as possible. Since you still have HP pots, okay, so you started with 1 HP pot and 2 mana pots. I usually prefer starting with 2 HP pots and 1 mana pot. And in fact, against Maokai, I would have gotten a pink ward, because Maokai, if he engages on you, you are going to take a lot of damage, especially because Caitlyn is going to be able to put a trap underneath you while his W is still holding you in place. So, like, the combo they would do is Maokai W's, Keelan puts a trap below you, and then Maokai Q's when the trap cooldown is about to expire, and then you're there for a really long time, and that's super bad, because you're just going to take all of your HP, and then you're going to die. So instead what you do is you put a pink ward in the bush that you're standing in, and then you walk out of the bush, attack, walk back into the bush, walk out of the bush, attack, walk back into the bush, and then the goal of this is to not be seen for long enough for them to be able to react to you. And also you can Q without them getting vision at all. So you probably should have, well, okay, yeah, you have more mana pots, so that's fine. It's also a good idea actually to save an HP pot for as long as possible while you still have your Biscuit, because the Biscuit and the HP pot stack on top of each other, and you have a massive burst of regen really, really quickly. And then they're not necessarily going to be expecting that at all. Well, they're almost certainly not going to be expecting that. You don't need to walk nearly that close to, okay. So you don't need to walk that close to the bush sword. That exhaust on Caitlyn is okay, I guess. Like, they had backed out, so what should have happened was that after you exhausted Caitlyn, she should have just beat out, and then you would have just wasted that exhaust because she would have disengaged already. But they ended up staying and fighting, so that was fine that you got the kill. But that was a result of them reacting poorly. You should be staying with Ezreal and protecting the tower, unless he specifically said that he wasn't going to base at all. But he really should base. But hitting the tower like that, it was okay because Ezreal's mid game is stronger than Caitlyn's, and so ending laning phase is fine as far as you guys are concerned. I definitely would have gotten a red crystal. I know that you like going GP10. I would have gotten a red crystal, and you should have at least 1 HP pot on you. One thing that a lot of supports don't do is to continue buying potions as the lane goes on. And it's actually really important to keep buying potions because you're going to take a lot of harass damage if you're playing somewhere aggressively. And Sona should be playing somewhere aggressively. Against Maokai, without a red crystal, you can't really play that aggressively. But if you had the red crystal and you had the HP pot, then since you guys are pretty far ahead because you did get that kill, or like Ezreal got that kill, you would be able to play a little bit more aggressively. Don't put a lane out like this. That creep probably would not have died without you specifically killing it before Ezreal got here, so you're just taking a lot of Ezreal's farm right now. Like, it doesn't feel like it because Ezreal's not on lane right now, but at most one creep would have died while he was gone, had you not been attacking so much. You're walking up very dangerously far. So okay, there are two problems with that. One was just that Ezreal is like really far back. So he wasn't really going to be able to help you if they engaged on you. The other thing was they had a billion range creeps right there. Range creeps do a lot and a lot of damage. You don't want to allow them to engage on you with a whole bunch of red creeps aggroed to you at the same time. Okay, so the way your Q works is that it attacks the 2 nearest targets unless there's an enemy champion within your auto attack range, in which case it will attack that enemy champion. I probably would have put that pink ward in Chai because Amumu can come through Chai and then just come through lane, and he can, like when he's 6 and he's really close to 6, he can just flash over this wall and then Q and then kill you. Sorry, flash over Q and then ult you, and then you guys are probably gonna die. So actually, do you have? Okay, so you're what? You have the CDR in offense and in utility, so you like don't even have any defensive stats. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot squishier than I like to run my supports, but if they're playing passive, you can get away with being squishy, but like Maokai should be like just jumping on you and killing you, honestly. But yeah, like I was saying, Amumu can come from Chai. Like, he's very good at getting through Chai, so you really want to keep Chai Warrior in particular. And the ping and Chai, I think, would have been able to see that ward anyway, so like that's not an issue. So just against Amumu, like because he's such a strong ganker, you want to have Chai and also Dragon Warded both. Keeping your W aura persistent is okay if your Ezreal's not poking, but he should be poking more, and then you would want to keep your Q aura persistent because it is when you have leveled the most. Because they're so good at killing you guys, I actually would not have taken my E at level 4 in this lane. That was a good ult. That was a really good ult. You're tanking tower, you're probably gonna get it. Okay. It's good to tank tower as long as possible with support. especially if it's going to turn into an execute if you're not there. But oh, sorry, other thing, you guys are unlikely to get kills by yourselves in lane. You're unlikely to need to like run them down, and really the only reason to have your E is for the E chord, so that you can run the enemy down. And slowing an Amumu isn't that effective because he's just gonna bandage toss you or flash on top of you. Like against a Nadir or something without a gap closer the way Amumu has, it's much more useful to have an E chord. But against Amumu, the E chord isn't going to do that much. So you really only want to have the E chord if you're dominating them and you want to be able to run them down really easily, which is not the case now. Like you are beating them, but you're not actually dominating them. So take the W chord, take the level of W at 4, so you have QW, QW, so you're able to have more defensive stats if Maokai engages on you. That was walking way too close to them. You should not have walked that close at all. If Maokai had properly engaged on you, you wouldn't have been able to kill Katarina at all. Okay, that was honestly just really poor play on Maokai's part. He didn't really use any of his cooldowns. He didn't drop an ultimate, even though he has a lot of mana. And you guys should have just died to the Katarina burst, because Maokai and Caitlyn should have been going aggro with Katarina. Like, you were outnumbered there. When you walked that close to the bush, you were within Maokai's W range. You should have just been immediately dead. I'm pretty sure you walk even closer than you need in order to drop a ward, and your only purpose for being there at all should have been to drop a ward. It is a very nice bush to have warded, so if it had been safe for you to be there, sure, go ahead and drop a ward. But you knew that Bren was outnumbered massively earlier, so you knew it wasn't likely to be safe. The warded dragon is a ward they probably want to have safe permanent, or actually probably the one in try is the one you want to have safe permanent the most. So I would have put my green ward in try and then use my two sidestone wards earlier. You're being too aggressive. Like, Maokai could turn flash W on top of you, and then they could just kill you. Like, his flash happens to be down. I don't know if you knew that his flash was down. So if you're 100% sure that his flash was down, then that was pretty safe to be there. But if you weren't, that was really unsafe, especially because the other thing they could have done is Caitlyn could have E'd backwards away from you, and then that would have slowed you, and that would have allowed Maokai to turn forward and then W to you. And then Maokai could have W to you and then chain that with a QCC, and then you would have been CC'd long enough for Caitlyn to catch up from the fact that she E'd away from you and put a W down on you, and they would have been able to get a lot of damage out. You probably wouldn't have died, but you probably would have needed your ult to survive there. Yeah, again, that's good damage to get down, but they didn't get in there. Oh, you didn't know it was there. Okay. When you're that far forward, it's a good idea to keep that bush warded. Shut down. The trap. Okay, you had that bush warded. You have no excuse for standing on that trap. Just be really careful to path around it. Like, okay, so as I'm running away, I like to look at the mini-map more than looking at exactly where I am. And then if you'd been looking at the mini-map like that, you would have seen the red dot, and you would have known to path to avoid the trap. So that's just something to keep in mind. That's a good idea to do. But that was a good ult that you had in that fight. And again, okay, so you're getting cages, like, if you're actually planning on upgrading the cages, then fine. But if you're just getting them for the GP10, just like see if Trundle's gonna get an Aegis. If he's not, it looks like he's getting a Phage. If he's not getting an Aegis, then you should really be getting an Aegis, because that's just such a good item to have early. Or you could even get Australia's. You guys are ahead enough that you can probably win a team fight. But you don't have that good of an engage, other than you like flash ulting, which is not that safe of an engage. But having Australia's is just a good thing. You should have actually tried to get an E-Cord on her. Like the W-Cord did do more damage, but